Have you ever wondered why some women seem to defy the natural passage of years, radiating a mysterious glow that transcends their actual age? There's something profound happening here that goes far beyond expensive creams or cosmetic procedures. Something that ancient wisdom keepers understood intuitively. We're about to uncover a phenomenon that transforms how we understand the relationship between inner consciousness and outer radiance. This isn't about following beauty trends or fighting against time. We're exploring something that operates on a much deeper level. What you'll discover challenges conventional thinking about aging itself. The answer lies not in what these women apply to their skin, but in the energetic signature they've cultivated within their being. A unique spiritual frequency that serves as armor against the wear of ordinary time. By journey's end, you'll grasp why certain souls maintain their luminescence while others gradually fade, and how this timeless knowledge might revolutionize your own dance with the years ahead. This mystery doesn't begin with lotions and potions. It starts with the radiance that flows from deep within. When depth psychology explored how consciousness affects physical reality, it revealed that awareness shapes our world in ways modern society has largely forgotten. Certain women possess a vibrational essence that operates beyond conventional aging patterns. Imagine encountering such a woman in any setting. She commands attention not through manipulation or artifice, but through an undefinable presence that seems to bend reality around her. Her features tell stories of lived experience, yet maintain an inexplicable freshness. Her gaze holds ancient wisdom while sparkling with innocent curiosity. This represents the archetype of radiant femininity, the woman whose spirit preserves her vitality. Through the lens of psychological wholeness, we understand that women who commit to inner transformation often witness their external appearance reflecting their internal metamorphosis. They embody what researchers call the timeless feminine essence, that eternal quality which transcends biological limitations. Within these remarkable women exists what mystics term the universal soul, the interconnected web linking all existence through invisible meaning. They've learned to harmonize with this cosmic pulse, allowing their personal timeline to sync with something infinitely grander and more ancient. This alignment creates what spiritual traditions have always recognized. Consciousness bends temporal reality, and awareness shapes the vessel containing it. These extraordinary women share a golden thread, weaving through their life tapestry. They've mastered the art of transforming suffering into illumination, without allowing resentment to crystallize within their hearts. Where others accumulate the weight of disappointment, they've developed the remarkable capacity to convert pain into radiant wisdom. Consider the woman who has navigated countless losses, yet maintains an unexplainable tenderness in her expression. She hasn't sidestepped life's trials. Instead, she's cultivated what psychologists call creative engagement, the ability to work with unconscious material in transformative, healing ways. This inner alchemy prevents the de-alkins, the de-anmes, emotional toxins that typically manifest as premature aging from establishing roots in her system. Ancient philosophers distinguished between mechanical time and sacred time. Mechanical time is rigid, linear, the relentless progression that most people surrender to completely. Sacred time is eternal presence, the timeless now where genuine transformation becomes possible. Women who appear mysteriously youthful have learned to inhabit sacred time primarily, touching mechanical time only when absolutely necessary, never allowing it to define their essential being. The journey begins with what depth psychology terms shadow integration, embracing the aspects of ourselves we typically hide. Most people exhaust enormous energy suppressing these darker elements, and this internal conflict eventually manifests in facial tension, posture, and overall energetic presence that the luminous woman has reconciled with her shadow, consciously integrating it rather than unconsciously battling it. This integration creates what ancient wisdom traditions called the philosopher's stone, a psychological state of completeness that radiates outward naturally when internal battles cease their constant drain on life force. That energy becomes available for regeneration and renewal. The face settles into its authentic beauty. The eyes clear of internal struggle's fog. The posture straightens with genuine confidence, but something even more profound operates here, something touching the very fabric of time itself. Advanced psychology understood that this psyche follows its own temporal laws, operating through meaningful coincidence that suggests reality beyond linear cause and effect. Women embodying this rare spiritual quality seem to exist partially outside chronological time. These women have developed what researchers call the witnessing consciousness, a part of awareness that remains detached from daily drama while simultaneously engaging with it. This psychological stance allows them to observe their aging process without becoming identified with it, creating protective distance that paradoxically slows the very process they witness. They age as conscious participants rather than helpless victims. They've accessed what psychology terms the bridge function, the connection between conscious and unconscious, enabling genuine transformation. This psychological achievement creates a temporal field around them where aging's usual rules operate differently. They do age, but according to their soul's rhythm rather than the clock's merciless ticking. You've likely encountered such women, those possessing an ageless quality making you question chronological reality. They move with grace, speaking of accomplished inner work, of psychological wounds transformed into strength sources rather than depletion points. Their laughter emerges from profound depths. Their silence holds transformative peace. Their presence suggests mysteries beckoning understanding. Modern science is catching up with what intuitive wisdom revealed decades ago. Epigenetic research demonstrates how emotional states directly influence genetic expression. Chronic stress accelerates cellular aging, while inner peace and joy produce regenerative effects. The telomeres protecting our chromosomes, those biological clocks determining cellular lifespan, respond directly to psychological state. What ancient wisdom called the collective unconscious provides these women access to inexhaustible renewal reservoirs. They draw upon archetypal energies that have sustained feminine principles across millennia, tapping regeneration patterns existing beyond individual experience. This connection to transpersonal vitality sources creates what might be called biological grace, accelerated cellular renewal occurring naturally. Women maintaining vital connection with their authentic self, the archetype of wholeness and meaning, display measurable differences in aging's biological markers. Their stress hormones remain balanced. Inflammatory responses stay regulated. Cellular repair mechanisms function optimally. The soul's tranquility literally preserves bodily youth. This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking. It's recognition of consciousness and physical reality's profound interconnection that depth psychology spent lifetimes exploring. The understanding that psyche and body aren't separate entities but unified whole aspects. Transformation in one inevitably affecting the other. Research shows certain individuals develop what might be called sacred orientation, not necessarily tied to organized religion, but to reverence permeating daily existence. Women embodying this spiritual relationship treat their bodies as consciousness temples, creating protective fields around aging that operate at quantum levels. The luminous woman has mastered what wisdom traditions call conscious release, releasing what no longer serves without clinging to familiar patterns simply because they're known. She understands each life stage requires psychological death and rebirth, navigating these transitions with grace rather than resistance. Where others accumulate psychological baggage weighing down features and dulling radiance, she's perfected conscious letting go. She carries only what serves whole's evolution, releasing heavy stories that would otherwise etch themselves as premature lines and shadows. This conscious release extends to her relationship with others' expectations and society's age-defined roles. Psychology speaks of the persona, our social mask, and how over-identification with these roles traps us in limiting patterns. The luminous woman wears personas lightly, like seasonal clothing changed when appropriate. Within her psyche's depths lies what researchers call the autonomous feminine complex, a psychological structure operating independently of conscious will, yet serving her highest evolution. This inner feminine principle guards her essential nature, preventing calcification, occurring when women lose touch with cyclical, regenerative essence. She's discovered what psychology terms the transcendent function, the mechanism allowing new possibilities to emerge beyond oppositional conflicts. Instead of being trapped between youth and age, beauty and decay, relevance and obsolescence, she's found a third way, transcending these dualistic struggles. In her presence, you sense someone who has befriended time rather than viewing it as enemy. She doesn't fight aging so much as dance with it, allowing external form to evolve while maintaining an inner core touched by eternity. This relationship with time creates a field where others also feel temporarily freed from temporal anxiety. This expresses what wisdom traditions call the wise woman archetype, not the crone of folklore, but a figure embodying timeless wisdom in vitally alive form. She's accessed the collective unconscious in ways connecting her to the eternal feminine principle, that divine aspect perpetually renewing itself through what psychology describes as the psyche's compensatory function. These women balance the conscious ego's rigidity with deeper psychic layers' fluid, adaptive nature. Their unconscious regularly provides corrective dreams, insights, and intuitions, keeping them aligned with authentic developmental paths, preventing psychic stagnation that often manifests as accelerated aging. The rare spiritual trait these women carry integrates multiple psychological concepts working in harmony. They've achieved what researchers call the union of opposites, balancing masculine and feminine energies within themselves, integrating light and shadow, embracing both strength and vulnerability. This internal marriage creates psychological alchemy, transforming everything it touches. Their faces become living symbols of psychological wholeness, natural expressions of the integrated self. The symmetry in their features speaks not of genetic fortune, but internal balance achieved through conscious work. The light in their eyes reflects personality integration into harmonious wholeness. You see this quality most clearly in their relationship to suffering. Where others might allow pain to create permanent bitterness furrows, These women have learned what psychology calls the sacred attitude toward psychological material. They understand every wound carries its healing seed. Every crisis contains greater consciousness potential. Luminous woman has developed what researchers term emotional differentiation, distinguishing between emotions serving growth and those perpetuating familiar suffering patterns. She can feel deeply without consumption, grieve completely without becoming lost, rage authentically without poisoning her system with toxic residue. This emotional sophistication prevents cellular inflammation. Research now links directly to accelerated aging. This doesn't mean avoiding suffering or serving or Jung. This doesn't mean avoiding suffering or Jung's of pretending it doesn't exist. Rather, they've developed what psychology terms holding oppositional tension, remaining present with difficult experiences without immediately seeking escape or resolution. This psychological skill prevents energetic fragmentation, typically accelerating aging. Their nervous systems maintain regulation even under stress, achieving what researchers call coherent heart rhythm variability. This physiological coherence state, achieved through emotional balance and conscious breathing, profoundly affects hormonal balance, immune function, and cellular regeneration. The soul's peace literally becomes the body's medicine. Perhaps most striking is their relationship to the future. While others cling to youth or fear time's passage, they've developed what psychology calls perspective consciousness, sensing each moment's potential for growth and transformation. They live anticipating becoming, not nostalgic for what was. This forward-looking consciousness creates what quantum physicists might call a possibility field around them. They seem to attract experiences and relationships supporting continued evolution, as if clear growth intention calls forth needed developmental circumstances. Psychology would call this synchronicity in action. Their faces reflect this future openness. Instead of fixed expressions from resigned limitation acceptance, they carry what might be called fluid features. Faces capable of infinite expression, eyes suggesting endless curiosity about what life might yet reveal. The concept of unified reality underlying existence finds expression in these women's cellular structure itself. They've achieved what ancient wisdom called microcosm and macrocosm union, personal transformation aligning perfectly with cosmic principles so their individual aging synchronizes with eternal renewal cycles governing nature. The spiritual trait they embody ultimately concerns relationship, not just with themselves, but with invisible forces psychology calls archetypes. They've learned to work consciously with these universal human experience patterns, drawing on their wisdom for guidance and renewal. This connection to transpersonal energies provides constant vitality source. You sense this archetypal connection in their presence. They seem to embody more than personal history suggests, as if carrying access to accumulated wisdom of all women walking similar paths. This collective feminine connection gives them timeless authority, having nothing to do with chronological age. Their laughter carries echoes of the eternal feminine principle, one of the psyche's fundamental organizing forces. When they speak, you hear not just individual voice, but something larger speaking through them. Some divine feminine aspect using their personality as expression vessel. This archetypal energy channeling requires what psychology calls permeable ego, selfhood strong enough maintaining individual identity while remaining open to transpersonal influences. It's delicate balance taking years of inner work to achieve. and once accomplished, creates radiance seemingly emanating beyond personal limitations. What emerges in these women is something researchers recognize as mystical marriage between conscious and unconscious, masculine and feminine, temporal and eternal. This inner wedding produces what wisdom traditions call the renewed self, carrying both experience wisdom and perpetual beginning wonder. The face becomes living testament to this internal union, reflecting resolved oppositional harmony. Women carrying this rare spiritual trait live what psychology calls symbolic existence, understanding every experience carries meaning beyond literal content. This life attitude prevents existential emptiness, often accelerating aging by draining vital energy through meaninglessness. Their daily activities become renewal rituals. Their relationships serve as continued growth mirrors. Their challenges transform into deeper understanding opportunities. This alchemical experience approach means nothing wastes. Every moment contributes to ongoing evolution. This purposeful living sense shows itself in their physical presence. Vitality. Psychology understood the psyche possesses natural healing function, innate wholeness tendency operating beyond conscious control. In women carrying this rare spiritual trait, this function has been consciously activated and sustained, creating continuous cellular renewal process operating from inside out. This transforms not just appearance, but how they inhabit their physical form entirely. As we complete our exploration, consider what we've uncovered. Implications. Youth's fountain isn't mythical spring hidden in distant lands. It's psychological state available to anyone willing to undertake integration and individuation inner work. That psychology mapped carefully. Women embodying this rare spiritual trait haven't discovered secret techniques or magic formulas. They've simply learned living in alignment with their psyche's deeper currents, working consciously with archetypal forces shaping human experience, maintaining vital connection with existence's transcendent dimension. Their apparent youth actually reflects psychological maturity, integrated wholeness expressing through physical form seeming to glow from within. They've achieved what ancient wisdom called the work against nature that paradoxically allows true nature emergence. In their presence, you glimpse what human beings might become, learning to work consciously with forces psychology spent lifetimes studying. They represent not just personal achievement, but collective possibility, suggesting consciousness evolution might indeed reflect in our physical forms. Evolution, the rare spiritual trait they carry, is ultimately available to all of us. It requires only courage to embark on psychology's inner journey called individuation, willingness to face our shadows and integrate our light, commitment to live consciously rather than automatically. The soul undertaking this work discovers its own timeless essence. That discovery transforms everything, including how we age. If you've recognized something of yourself in this exploration, or if you're inspired to begin your own conscious aging journey, I invite you to subscribe to Sacred Patterns. Share in the comments what resonated most deeply with you. What aspects of this rare spiritual trait you're ready to develop in your own life. Your insights contribute to our collective understanding of how consciousness shapes reality, how soul condition influences body expression. Together, we're rediscovering ancient wisdom that psychology brought to light, understanding that true youth springs from the integrated self's eternal wellspring.